Well, hello, everybody. This is Dr. Troy Dukowitz of the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big-ass results in your life and business. Today's topic is this: the power of influence and a good sword fight. So just a couple nights ago, the boys were playing with, they got these, they have these Minecraft swords, and they have these swords that they got from Disney World, and they are literally just running around the house having these sword fights. And of course, being the big kid that I am, I had to chime in and act like the Karate Kid and play along with them. And as we continue to run around the house and playing, Walker, our 1-year-old, so we have a 7, a 5, and then a 1-year-old, is watching all of this take place. And so we continue to play, laughs and giggles and throwing pillows at each other and just having a good time. And then finally we have to wind down. Now this is very difficult, just quick side note, because when it's time to wind down, Daddy typically finds a way to wind the boys up, or they do it on their own. And so we had to wind down, and as a result of winding down, we go to bed. Well, I decide I'm going to get back up, and when I get back up, I go ahead and walk out, and I sit down, and I'm going to pop on the hockey game. Let's go Blues. And as I'm watching the game, there's like a moment of excitement and I cheer. The problem with the cheering is that it woke up our 1-year-old. And Walker then would be up for the course of the next 3 hours. Yes, you can imagine that my wife was very, very happy with me in this particular moment. Now, what would happen though later is where it would just turn into such a powerful moment. And we're sitting in the kitchen, he's on the floor, and all of a sudden he picks up his shoes and he wants mommy to put his shoes on. Now he has seen this time and again with the boys, and he wants to put his shoes on. And then he crawls into he kind of crawls down the floor and he goes over to a cabinet. He opens up the cabinet. When he opens up the cabinet, he actually pulls out a kind of like a smasher thing that we use for our Vitamix to push, fruits and vegetables down when you're juicing. And he grabs this, and then he grabs a spoon. And he crawls back over to mommy and he gives it to her, and he lifts up the spoon and he and he wants to start having a sword fight. And so Leah says, Troy, you got to come here and see this. And I come in there and see this, and he's trying to have a sword fight. So I sit down on the floor next to him, and sure enough, he's trying to have a sword fight. And he would take it away from me, and I would give it, and I would take it back, and then he'd give it to me, but then he would take it back. But regardless, he sat there having a sword fight. And it just got me to thinking of just how powerful it is. How powerful influence is, that we don't really realize this, that we all every single day have an influence on someone. Wyatt and Watson, we tell them every single day that Walker wants to be like them. The kid is 1 year old, and you could tell he just wishes he could get up and start running with them and playing with them. He is so ready to do this. And it's that power of influence that we all have that most people don't even know. Most people don't even recognize the fact that we all have influence. You listening right now have influence over people. No matter whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, whether you even understand it or not, you have an influence over people. And there are people who get around you and they say, oh my gosh, you're so positive all the time. I love being around you because you just cheer me up. That's influence. There are other people that you are around and you start bitching and moaning and they join the party. Guess what? Same thing. You are still influencing that person. So you look across the board in your life, and there's 2 areas that we have to look at. Number 1 is, who am I allowing to influence me? And number 2, who am I influencing? And so when I look at my children, I say, wow, like it just gives, and we've heard it before, like the context of just understanding that everything we do, they see every single day. So we have to pay attention to our emotions and our actions and our words and what we're saying, because they will take these things on. And so it's equally as important in other relationships, whether it's at work, whether it's at church, whether it's at the grocery store. We are having this influence over people every single day. So the question becomes this: if you were to look at this and say, holy shit, I really do have an impact on people, I really do have an influence over people, you have to ask yourself the question: who am I allowing to influence me, and who am I influencing? Then, am I influencing the way that I want to lead? Am I influencing the way that I want to lead? Are you being an a-hole all the time, and that's the way that you're influencing people, is you're basically spreading your negative Nelly dust all over the world? Or are you a person who is leading by example, and you do have challenges and hard situations, but you find a way to maneuver through them? And even if you do get upset, you find a way to use that as a power to grow and move forward. So this is all about us just, I think, first and foremost, that realization that we all influence, number 1, and then understanding and identifying, how are we influencing? And is it truly the way that I want to be influencing people? And what we realize on the other side of all of this is that there is a power that comes from this. And it really comes from it in both realms. There are people who are just negative all the time. They go around, they spread their negative energy and mojo all over everybody. And it's like they get off on it. They just complain and they might not even be consciously thinking about it, but it's like they complain and they bitch and they moan, and they're doing it everywhere, and they are influencing people. And then there's other people on the other side, like this podcast. I love doing the podcast because I know it can have an influence on people. And it's like, that's what I want people to be doing. That's how I want to lead people. I want to lead you to take action. And so I have to be a person who takes action. And I have to be a person who recognizes when he's not taking action, that I can share the lessons that I learned from that have helped to propel me to move forward, in the hopes that it helps you to do the same. So take a look at your life right now, across body, being, balance, and business. Look at who you're allowing to influence you, and look at how you are influencing. And answer that one final question, which is, am I influencing the way that I want people to see me, or more importantly, the way I want to see myself? And if not, write down that action today that you can take to start leading from a place of influence that makes you proud. That's all I've got for you here today, folks. If you haven't already, please head on over to iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, rate, review, or subscribe to this podcast. And as always, make sure you head on over to commitandgo.com, where you can get information about, it's a free program I put together for you. And for my one-on-one clients that I'm sharing with you, it's a time mastery program, help you to remove the energy drainers in your life and start to really focus on things that are going to help you to move the needle in your life and business. That's all I've got for you here today. I am Dr. Troy Dukowitz. This has been the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big ass results in your life and business. We'll hear you next time. Bye-bye.